Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 20-something. Of course, if you've been listening to all of our episodes so far, you should know who we are, but just in case you don't, I'm Victoria, also known as GhostyStuff. Here with me, I have Will, also known as Salsaclubpresident, Erin, also known as Pagesoferin. We're switching it up this time.
I'm second.
And we have Nick, also known as Cartoon Nickname. Nick,
Hello.
You're gonna be last today. Sorry, bud.
I was plugging the stream. I was gonna plug the podcast in my Tumblr description.
Well, you do
I
that.
Promote it more.
You're doing God's work on this.
Just
day,
don't mention the backstabbing.
Yeah, you're doing Keanu's work here.
You're doing Keanu's work. Look, I love Keanu, but he feels more like a Jesus to me, if anything.
Agreed.
So he's my opposite, and I have to kill him. I'm sorry.
Don't you fucking kill Keanu? I will kill you.
Okay, you can try, but
Victoria, if you kill Keanu, I'm gonna have to cancel you.
Yeah.
Okay, you can.
Leading into today's.
You can try,
topic.
but
wow, that was
as little
segue.
Nas has shown us.
Anyway,
as little Nas has shown
I'm
us,
gonna
the
kill
Antichrist is
myself.
kind of hot, so you know.
True.
Bruh.
I would pull ants down to hell.
Which is also
Take
another
it with the
relevant
devil.
thing for cancel culture here. Ooh, God,
Okay.
we're swimming in it today.
Damn,
Oh,
these
yeah.
segues, man, they
It's
got me
been
going.
a long time coming. We've teased this episode quite a bit.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, we did.
Oh, I've been frothing at the mouth.
Have you?
Yeah.
So, who would like to go first?
Well, I mean, should we actually just say, because we're just kind of giving hints, so let's just say, today's episode is going to be about cancel culture, everyone. And,
yeah, and basically, I'd like to start, because people throw around the term being canceled all the time, and obviously with society, terms change in meaning, and, you know, the meanings of words always is going to alter. But as of right now, where we're at, as far as my understanding of it is, cancel culture is basically this form of ostracizing people in which someone in a societal or professional circle is ostracized for something that they have done, be it in recent days or many, many years ago. And this ostracization is what we call being canceled.
and unfortunately, it happens to a lot of people who have changed, but people don't really care about that.
Nobody cares about change because change doesn't make for good headlines.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
And I do want to say this about it. I think there are absolutely some instances where cancel culture works. I think there are, I think there were a lot of times in the Me Too movement where cancel culture absolutely worked.
Yeah.
You know, like Harvey Weinstein, that was a big
We
W for
needed
cancel
that
culture.
The
bastard
entirety
needed to go
of
down.
of Megan Fox's career.
Yeah. Wait, I didn't know there was anything with Megan Fox. What?
So, let me briefly explain. So the whole thing with Megan Fox is, so we all know her, I think, mainly from her work in Transformers, where, funny thing, do you know how old she was when she was cast in that movie?
Isn't she, like, really young?
She
18?
was 15.
What?
Yep.
So, the thing with that was, mainly the reason why she was cast in that was because of her looks, and that was made very apparent because, well, if you saw most of the scenes in the Transformers movie of the Bayverse, the second Transformer movie of the Bayverse, it was all terrible. To the point where even though she tried to, disagree with Michael Bay on a lot of them, completely ignored. She even tried to speak out about it on the Jimmy Kimmel show at one point, but it was made a joke of, and, well, you know, that didn't go over well either. So, the thing was, that kind of started her career, jump-started it in a way, and it sucked because, well, no one took her seriously when it came to the sexual harassment that she dealt with in her career, and, well, even though she did get to do a few cool projects, one of her favorites was Jennifer's Body, for good reason, because it kind of just, you know, fucked with the trope that she hated so much and that she was forced to embody at the time. But even then, her career was kind of ruined. And it was only recently that she kind of got to clap back on it with the whole thing of her showing up, I think, in one of Machine Gun Kelly's music videos, and everyone was super hyped for that. And then she, thanks to the Me Too movement, she sort of was able to get back in there and restart her career in a way. So, you know what, good for her, but it really kind of showed that, like, definitely in the early 2000s, even way before that there's a lot of power that producers and directors have over a lot of female cast, or just
absolutely
women in general.
Well, and it exists.
Of course,
it exists outside of the film and TV industries. Obviously, we're recording this in the wake of, and no one is surprised, but Activision
/ Blizzard's nightmare.
Which
they're having a nightmare,
that
and
was
that's shitty.
known for years. It's just
Everyone
same.
assumed that it was a
Everybody
thing.
knew.
Everyone...
Everybody assumed, and now it's confirmed, which is, like, it's shitty that it ever happened, but it's great that we are starting to get some facts.
For most like, huge companies, in my head, it's usually assume that bad things are happening and just wait for the proof to come out. Well, I hate to say wait for the proof to come out, because that comes at the cost of a lot of people, men and women. Let's be clear. There is harassment on both sides, whether that be by men or women. It still happens to everyone for multiple reasons. Yeah.
I do just want to throw out, like, obviously that's all really shitty and all sucks, but there needs to also be a clear line between cancel culture in the bad way and forcing people to be held accountable for their own actions. That is the line that we as a culture need to put in the sand, but it seems to be really blurry in these days, in that if you're asking someone to be held accountable, it's suddenly cancel culture. And
then when it comes to actual cancel culture, then... when it comes to actual cancel culture that is toxic, then, you know, that person will not be held accountable for their actions. Yeah.
Exactly.
My big thing with it is, like, I feel like for every time where it does work, and it's great when it does. Like, again, Harvey Weinstein, like, it worked with that, fucking awesome. Like, that gave me a little bit of hope in humanity, quite frankly.
It kind of worked a little for, who was it that does, for Bill Cosby, but apparently he got let out of jail, so, you know.
Fuck that guy, yeah.
Yeah, but
which is weird, considering that happened around the same time the whole Britney Spears thing was going on, so Jesus Christ, wow, have the coins flipped.
Yeah, but I feel like for every time it does work, there are, like, a bunch of, at least in like, the public eye for, like, you know, like, that people hear about, there are other times where it's just the most unnecessary. Like, I brought this up on one episode, and this is kind of like my go-to when I think of it, of how bullshit it can be sometimes. And I know he's back directing the movie now, but James Gunn was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because, like, and say what you will about the jokes, right? Like, he made some shitty pedophile jokes over 10 years ago when he was fired, like, 4 years ago, I think.
But that was over 10 years ago. Yeah, you gotta respect that people grow.
Yeah, which, like, say what you will about the jokes. I didn't think they were very funny, but I did know that they were jokes. And, you know, like, I don't think people should be canceled for bad jokes. Like if they can be criticized, sure, that's fair enough. But, like, trying to ruin someone's life because of that, that's so shitty. I feel like most people think the person who, like, I don't even know the name of the person who revealed those tweets or resurfaced them. I don't know his name, but I feel like people hate him more than they hated James Gunn.
Here's my general thought on everything, is that if you're a person and you've gone out of your way to hurt someone or sexually assault someone or all of these things, you fucking deserve every hell to be brought down upon you. However, if it's a tweet that you put out drunk at 3 a.m. 15 years ago and your entire career crumbles because of that.
Well, it's not even that, of just, like, if you make a shitty tweet and you were, like, and let's say you fully believed in it at the time, or even then, but now things have changed, and you have tried to make efforts to change that, then that's a different thing. Exactly.
I look at who I was last year, and while at no time in my life have I ever, I think, you know, have I ever even thought about making a racist tweet or something? Like, I'm so different from who I was last year.
If I had spoke
and other people changed.
If I had tweeted what I thought in my emo phase, I would be dead man walking.
Yeah, because like here's
Sure.
here's something that people really do need to like.
If I actively made all the jokes that I do with my friends now, we'd have a problem because
Oh my
I
God,
make
no.
a lot
Exactly.
of I make a lot of bad jokes. So it's like
People need to realize like there are some reasons why
I make a lot of terrible jokes.
yeah,
Sure.
like there's a reason why there are some thoughts that stay thoughts, you know. Like if I thought back to like my last year of high school, I think back to how I was, the whole like, man, like I'm so anti-politics, and like I would make a bunch of like stupid, like not tweet them, but like I would say
stupid opinions about stuff.
I like not thinking, and then I think back and like, man, I would go back in time and punch myself in the face and just be like, stop.
I
Like,
would stop you from punching yourself so we could have a talk with young you. Don't hurt him, okay? He's just a kid.
No, trust me when I say young me has it coming.
Okay.
But even then, that shouldn't like
yeah, but I don't think it
completely derail you as like a future script
Yeah.
writer for
What
20 years from now.
pisses
Especially
me
since it's, like,
off
fucking 15.
is like when they attack actors, because this happened twice, and they're both like really great British people who are fucking phenomenal to me and like personal heroes when it comes to comedy and writing, like Terry Gilliam and Rowan Atkinson. Like they both kind of said like, hey, you know, this cancel culture thing, it's kind of becoming a bit of a witch hunt. They're like, it's like Invasion of the
Immediately
Body
gets
Snatchers.
witch hunted.
Yeah, you
But
prove
that's
your point.
the best correlation. Is it's all a witch hunt. We need people to ostracize, to kick to the curb, and for so long it was like, you know what, burn the witches or do this.
Well,
and
it's
there-
also the
We are a
problem of
hateful
just like
species, yet we're
It's-
also
we
very
are.
lovable
well, it's also the
species.
problem. It's the problem of and I always say this is just like it comes down to the fact that we are as like people not taught from a young age critical thought and how to be individuals and live amongst
we're
other
taught
individuals
mob
peacefully.
mentality.
We are taught
We are
mob
taught to fit
mentality.
in.
Every single part of our lives is that when you grow up to be what your parents expect you to be. You rebel, you go
Yep.
into other groups that are conglomerations of other people that have varying opinions but can only go to one area in general where they will find like-minded people, and that's it, and it's filtered. Then you have the extremes, which becomes a problem because you're not just going to see that in kids or teenagers or adults in just general social groups. Because the problem is, all those social groups make up what lead our country and control our countries and just control everything. We're going to have those extremes everywhere, on every scale. And it's terrifying and very sad.
Yeah, like my whole thing is like I feel like, and I'm sure there are people who have said this before, but like with cancel culture, I feel like the people who do like initialize the canceling, right, so to speak, I don't think they really care if the person is changed. They just want to look good. Because if you call someone out for doing a shitty thing over a decade ago, yeah, like a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction would be like, oh wow, like you're so brave or whatever. But like if you really stop and think about it, it's like you just dug up old things someone said over a decade ago. They probably don't think that at all anymore, and you're just trying to completely ruin this person. Like I'm pretty sure
That
James
says
Gunn
more
was...
about you than it does the person sometimes.
Yeah. It's like what do you want this person, like realistically, do you want this person to just say the words sorry, or do you want them to just genuinely be better? Like which one of those do they want?
Or do you just want to ruin their life because you're hate-filled?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the people who do those callouts either want to ruin something or they want to lift up this terrible thing on a pedestal and say, see how I'm not doing this? See how much better I am
that's what
than this person.
Lindsay
It's-
Ellis
yeah.
did like a whole hour-long thing about how she was canceled, and she essentially said they're doing this so that they can say we're not racist, we're not sexist,
Exactly.
we're not this.
It's that, and also sometimes it's like you have those people that do it and they know what they're doing. They know for a fact what the fuck they're doing. But then you also have people that may be younger or older or just in general that are ignorant and do not have the ability to think for themselves and make their own opinions out of fear of being attacked by these same groups. You see it in cults, you see it in political groups, you see it in just general social groups in school. Like, it's everywhere.
Yeah, but one thing that like I always like, I feel like most people will agree, like most normal people will agree with that with like the James Gunn thing. No one really gave a shit what he said.
At the time, no one would have given a shit that had no one would have given a shit that people would have actually listened to. I'm sure there were people that were very much bothered by it, but didn't want to say anything because, well, at the time, that's not something you really say anything about. Yeah. It's a thing that just happens and you live with it.
I should have worded that differently. What I mean is, like, there were more people saying that he shouldn't have been fired than there were saying that he should. But the people who say that he should are so much louder than the people who say he shouldn't. So for some reason, people just like, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but I do feel like there's a bit of a double standard there because James Gunn made, again, shitty jokes, got fired, I think, less than 24 hours after that news broke. Amber Heard, there was audio of her admitting to hitting her husband.
Amber Heard
she is still going to be in Aquaman 2.
Yeah, she's gotta get out.
Which is awful. She, like,
Yeah, like, look, I don't usually hop on the whole, like, because I am absolutely one of those people who, for the most part, is, like, very, like, innocent until proven guilty. I won't take, like, a really definitive side until, like, there's a verdict, because I don't want to, because here's the thing, and again, it's, like, the John Mulaney bit, where it's, like, I am often wrong, right? Like...
Sure. Aren't we all?
Yeah, like, I barely know, like... how to I had to look up yesterday, like on a GPS, how to get to a pizza place that was less than 5 minutes away. I'm gonna cancel someone because of like allegations that have no base right now. Like, no, like I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. I don't want to ruin someone's life because of that. But like with Amber Heard, that is absolutely a case where like there was audio evidence of her admitting to hitting him, and she still gets to be in a movie that presumably will have a budget of like over $200 million, and she's still going to be fine.
So here's the thing about that. I do have a thought about that, and sorry, Erin, in advance. So the thing that I've noticed a lot of now is that, and I will always say this, when it comes to feminism as a whole, there's two things that people see. Is you have mainstream feminism, which is usually led by cis white women who, yes, say all these things that they want to be equal, they want this, they want that, but the problem is that they kind of use feminism as a catalyst to be very destructive in their own way and completely disregard the fact that they are still part of these systems that are not benefiting everyone else. On one point, yes, you are still discriminated against, let's say, or facing sexism because you are a woman. Yes, it happens. Or maybe because you are queer. Yes, those things happen. But at the same time, you are still a cis white woman. Emphasis on the white part. Sorry. There's still...
no, don't say sorry. Like, you're so right. You're literally so right.
And a similar thing for, like, obviously we say cis white men all the time, but the thing is, and here's where it's really important, yes, they benefit from the systems as well. 100%. Never forget that. But also don't forget that in the grand scheme of things, everyone is still being hurt by the greater whole of the system, including cis white men, or, you know, non-binary, or transgender, or so on and so forth. Like, everyone is suffering on some level. Some more than others, and there needs to be immediate action. But when it comes to mainstream feminism, it only focuses on one area, and everyone else is canceled. Legitimate feminism encompasses both men and women, non-binary, however you please, everyone.
It's about straight equality. Like,
yes,
every soul has to be equal, because that's just what it is.
So,
but it's interesting because it really does all boil down to just like,
it's gotten
the metaphorical system, whatever the grand system is. Because honestly, at this point, even though I've been living in it for 22 years, I don't really know what the world is. Yeah. Like, I know I'm stupid, and I'm confused at a lot of points. But this grand metaphorical system, like, it doesn't work. It's broken. We, as people, are
broken.
As a whole, shattered and broken. And I feel like at the very least our generation realizes this.
But
we're also coming out of the wake of other generations that are saying it's just what it is and there's nothing you can do to fix it.
When a lot of the time it's like you know deep down you're broken too, but you feel like it's too late to change anything. Or if you change it, then your life is going to be a lie and broken and you can't live with it. Well, that's what therapists are for.
Because people don't want to admit that they've done wrong things in the name of mob mentality.
Yeah.
Like, if a small group of kids goes and bullies a kid to the point where they hurt themselves, they don't want to admit that they did that. And that's, you know what? Fair enough.
They're
Whatever.
kids, they didn't actually understand, like, the...
But that's an entire society. That's entire generations of they don't want to admit that they've ruined the world. Yeah. And so instead they're just pushing the system forward, saying, no, it's perfect. It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's too late to change it. Let it be.
1984. It's like we've always been at war with Eurasia. Big Brother is watching.
But also, it's not to say that, like, our generation doesn't do anything wrong either. It's like,
we do.
We're in it. Well, we're the reason, like, cancel culture is kind of, like, our thing, is it not? Like, it's us. We just started canceling and pointing fingers because we want the next Salem witch trials. Yeah, like that's what we want.
My mom is in her late 40s. She's not on Twitter fucking being like, man, I can't believe these horrible things James Gunn said.
Like, the most my mom goes on to is Facebook. She has an Instagram. She doesn't really use it, I don't think. Like... Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's weird because now that I think about it, that brings up a great point. Thank you, Mom, for having this conversation with me. So it actually... So the thing is that I think... And, well, you might understand this because there was a segment of a chapter of Spy X Family that brought up the same point of the younger generation, when we think about things that are terrible, like, let's say, slavery or oppression or discrimination, we see it as, like, the big picture of... Sometimes, often, we will see the start to finish. This is how it started. This is what happens. This is how it ends. And we will stubbornly follow through with that. Which you can see in a lot of senses. Like, if you see extreme liberals or extreme conservatives, for them, it's cut and dry. This is what's going to happen. There is no other way of doing this. This is how we win. And this is how we get what we need and what we want and what we think the world wants. But then you have the older generation that has lived through, let's say, the early stages, the mid stages, everything. They have lived through it. And so they know not so much the big picture, but the smaller bits and pieces. Let's give an example. So let's say for segregation or something like that. Sure. For us, we learned it in the history books of Black people were separated from white people in establishments, in schools, so on and so forth, greatly discriminated against and by the police. We still have the police brutality here nowadays. We still have it. But then you have, on a minor scale, all the little things that add to it. So let's say, in terms of interracial relationships, you would never be able to have a Black person and a white person in a relationship. They could never have kids together. Why? Because they will be ostracized. They will get hurt. Their children will get hurt. So on and so forth. On top of it, there are certain things like, let's say, Black people that try to separate themselves from their identity because, well, they don't want to be Black anymore if this is what happens if they are Black. Or let's say, even in Black communities, there are a lot of niches where you have abuse within our cultures that we are forced to deal with now because, well, we're being cut off from the rest of the world. So when you think about all these tiny things, and yes, there are a lot of us that are aware of these tiny things because we live through it sometimes too in our own ways. A lot of us as a whole, when we're on the internet, are always talking about the big picture. We're just the voice for telling others what's going on. There are other people in the background that are dealing with the minor, like the more details that we don't often think about. We're the protesters, not necessarily the planners all the time, if that makes sense. The reason I say this is because I had this talk with my mom of like the entire problems that we have like recently in Canada. I think by the time you hear this, so let me just fucking date this. A bunch of graves for kids that were in residential schools was found again in, was it last month? So like June, or so, you know, it kind of sparked that again, of saying we need to do more for our First Nations peoples. And I was talking with my mom, and she's been involved with the government for years. So she's been in Citizenship Canada. She has been part of when we had many of the Syrian refugees coming in, and she was one of the people that had responsibilities delegated to her, where she was supposed to find ways to properly emigrate these people into the country, make sure they had the resources to get jobs, live a proper life on a proper wage, so that they didn't die. But they also had some issues brought up of, let's say, if you had Syrian refugees whose family dynamics were not good, like, let's say there were abusive parents or anything like that. So then they had to handle the specific bits and pieces of, okay, what do we do in that situation? So then who do we help there? Do we help them at all? So on and so forth. So it's like, it's a lot. There's so much. Yeah. And sometimes people forget that there is so much, and there are nuances to everything. So sorry for the rant, but that's what I'm getting.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm good.
Like, nothing is ever completely cut and dry. Like that's what makes the world difficult and what makes living.
That's what makes the world fun. You get to figure out like your own method of thinking. Like, I'm gonna say this now. I'm doing things currently that, you know, if it came out, might have some people look at me and be like, really? You did that? And I'm like, I'm not gonna cut and dry it.
That sounds so sketch. Just
it's
saying.
Not. It is.
Sure, I know
it
exactly what you're talking about. It's hilarious.
It is and it isn't, but if people were come up me in the future and be like, you did that? I'd own up to it and be like, yeah, I did it.
I don't know entirely how we got here from just the general concept of cancel culture, but like
I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to say that.
Cancel culture comes from a greater whole of holy shit.
Yeah,
I do.
But the thing of, like, you know, past things we're ashamed of. For me, it's not like tweets or Tumblr posts I put out as a kid. Dude, I put out a lot of like probably really gross, terrible, cheesy ass fan fiction.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day.
That was
like,
my
that
coping
I wrote when
mechanism.
I was like 10. Exactly, and it's, you know what? It is what it is. It's out there. But like, I don't want people to dig it up and use it against me. I freely hand it out.
Yes.
Like, it is on my professional website. If you want to go find my shitty fanfiction, go for it. No, I wrote it when I was 12.
I will not
but
be
it's
doing
there.
I will not be doing
like,
that.
it exists.
Please don't find it. Please don't talk to me about it.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, I just had a panic attack. I thought my Audacity stopped working. It's fine.
Oh, no. We can hear you. Sorry, Will. We kept
No, I mean, you can hear me, but, like, I thought my recording.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's fine now. You're just, like, not responding, and it's working.
I don't know where to go with this cancel culture now, though, really, because it's like, I essentially said my piece of, like, I guess the best thing I can say is, like, I guess we can talk about this, but, like, get your information before you point the finger.
Yeah.
Get the whole story.
I have two things I want to bring up about it. One, I did bring this up when I think it was the Powerpuff episode where I brought this up about, and I understand that this is already kind of old news by the time I bring it up, and it's going to be even older news by the time this comes out. But Seth Rogen did an interview like a month ago or something, where he was talking about cancel culture, and I don't remember the exact words, but like they basically boiled down to comedians need to accept the fact that their words won't age well, and that if people call them out and cancel them, it's kind of on them, which I think is, first of all, I think that's like the funniest thing Seth Rogen has ever said, because he all of his movies are just kind of like, I haven't seen Sausage Party, but like, it's just like a giant, the whole joke is just, I've heard it's awful, because I had a friend who said that you'll find more joy like pulling hangnails than watching that movie.
There was actually a movie that he was in recently, I forget what it was, but pretty much
American Pickle?
Maybe? Is that the one where he's like a liberal journalist who falls in love with like
Long
Secretary of State? Yeah, Long Shot. I didn't like that. It felt stupid. I
Yeah.
just didn't like it.
But I think that whole interview is very weird because I do feel like people need to address the times in which it's like if you had like the Super Mario Bros. Movie is awful, but like it aged terribly because it had like the Twin Towers in it and stuff.
Interesting.
Right? So everything has the potential to age horribly because that's just how time works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you
how
need-
society progresses.
Sometimes
That's
you
what
have
it
fine
is.
wine, sometimes you have curdling milk.
Yeah, like you can
Yeah.
if you want to criticize someone, fair enough. I won't stop you. That's like fair game, whatever. But to say that this is representative of them now is ridiculous.
No.
And I think someone
No,
like
like-
Seth Rogen, first of all, just doesn't seem very likable in general. Like I remember, I'm pretty sure
I
I
haven't
saw.
seen much of his shit, so I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck kind of
I
guy
like
he is.
him as the mantis in Kung Fu Panda. He's funny.
Yeah,
there.
oh yeah, he is that.
Oh, is
But
that who
I
he
saw
is? Cool.
I saw an interview, not saw, but like I think I read an article somewhere, and this was recent. This was like, I don't want to get the information wrong. So if someone listening to this is actually like, oh no, this was at this point, feel free to correct me. I remember seeing an article recently, like within the past couple of months, that said, oh, Seth Rogen says he's gonna stop making movies with James Franco, and it was like, okay, what, are we supposed to congratulate him for not making movies with a sexual predator 2 years after it was confirmed?
Wait,
Like, what are we
what?
supposed to
Movie.
Yeah, James Franco's
Yeah,
like
no, I remember hearing all that come out, and that's another interesting.
It's like, okay,
side of
I
it all, is
mean,
that
kind
it's-
of
I feel like-
expected, I guess. I don't. Why you?
Yeah,
wanna...
we shouldn't be applauding people for doing the bare minimum and not talking
Yeah.
to shitty predatory people.
Yeah, and he's like, I
Like-
saw this. I don't know again when this was, but like I saw this article recently because it showed up on my Google Chrome like recommended. So I assume it was like an article that was written recently at the
Yeah.
time. And it's like, okay, what do you expect us to give you a pat on the back? Do you expect to be praised because, first of all, you're about 2 years too late, quite frankly.
Like, were you still working with him when the tweet got sent out, and you were just like,
Yeah.
whatever?
Like again, I am a person who believes in innocent until proven guilty. I won't take one side over the other until there's like a fair, like someone who knows what they're talking about and what they're doing kind of confirms it, right? With James Franco, that was the case, and everyone knew it, right? And Seth Rogen still made movies with him, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not
Like, while you were working with him, did you see the tweet, look at him, and you were like, nah, can't be this guy, and then keep going?
I'm
Like,
sure it's fine.
like, look, I get he's your friend and all, but still, like, I don't respect you any. Like, in fact, I respect you less because it took you so long.
Well, I mean, that is kind of the thing to sort of play devil's advocate here. I just want to preface this. If you're a sexual harasser or a Nazi, fuck you. But
Yeah,
to preface
please go
it,
fuck
like,
yourself.
they can be friends with someone for years and then either they
not
find
realize or
out, not
find
realize.
out.
No,
It can be
okay.
a shock.
No,
Yeah.
I understand that, but what I mean is, Seth Rogen still worked with James Franco for 2 years, like not like hanging out, like he was in movies with James Franco for 2 years after this was confirmed, and only now, like I think this year, 2021, has he said that he's not going to be doing that anymore. You know,
It's weird.
like it'd be one thing to hang out with him like in private, but to be on screen in movies with him is like another thing.
That
that
actually brings up something that I think definitely is important for not only this generation, but for every generation, because we all do it, and we all have done it or might even fall into it again. So the whole thing that I feel really drives home a lot of times when it comes to allegation or cancel culture in general, and when a lot of times things are not taken seriously or not taken, logically, is because when we think of celebrities, we get attached. Like, to a ridiculous amount sometimes. Like, and that happens a lot with us when we were
Parasocial
young.
relationships.
Yeah, parasocial
are very
relationships
strong.
are a fucking bitch, because the problem with that is, and this happens for a lot of younger people, is it can leave them very susceptible to a manipulation on many parts, because that's just kind of how we were raised. We get attached to someone, they help us with everything, we can't live without them. Sometimes in a literal sense, sometimes in a figurative sense. And that can happen a lot with celebrities, especially for people that are just still trying to figure out who they are, or trying to find people that are like-minded, that can speak for them in a world that does not seem to listen to them.
Right.
But the thing is with that is, you don't know these people. They don't know you.
They're completely different people behind a screen.
Yes.
Behind their characters.
So
like
it's
like
okay. It's okay to be.
I have
a
a
fan
point
of things.
when you're done.
Yeah. I have one too, but you, Erin.
It's okay to be a fan of their work or interested in some things. That's fine. But it's okay to be a fan of some people's work. They're generally find that they do good work. Because I'm sorry, morality does not beget talent. It never will.
Yeah.
That's like how I feel with an example is like, so one of my favorite artists so far is Doja Cat. She does really good music. Awesome. But she was recently called out on being anti-black because before her career started, she did not identify as a black person. Most people suspect the reason that she started is because she probably wanted to say the N-word every 5 seconds in her songs. And honestly, it's like, there's a lot of problems with that, especially when it comes to identifying who is black, who is not. When it comes to something like that, even though she did make a public apology, it's like, dude, we all know why you're here now. Just fucking cut the shit. Like, I don't care for her as a person. I can't deny her music actually really fucking good. Like it's great, but and for my second point another thing is that, and this accounts to this applies to everyone as well. It's like, things are not forever. If opinions change, if people change, sometimes for good, sometimes even for the bad, you need to learn how to handle it and sometimes let it go.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be friends with the same people forever. If you do, that's awesome. Hopefully they're good people. But if you're not, then that's okay too. Because, well, shit doesn't last forever. That also includes, people you're a fan of, like celebrities. They may have been good at one point, but they're not going to be good forever, maybe. So you just learn to let it go, take it with grace, and fucking move on.
If I can touch on the comment of celebrities and canceling and how weird this culture is, can we just talk about how unfair it is for an actor to be canceled because of the actions of their character?
Yes.
Yeah, has that happened?
The poor actors. Oh my god. So the most recent example I can think of is, and spoilers for people who have not watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh god.
But really? The guy who plays John Walker has straight up, I believe, gotten death threats and been doxxed because he plays John Walker.
Yeah.
Even though the actor himself, I've found like no tea on this man.
He seems to be a very genuinely nice guy.
He seems like delightful.
Yeah.
But because he plays a character that obviously you're supposed to hate him. You're not smart for thinking he's bad. You're
and
average.
you're a fucking idiot if you send death threats to this man. He's just doing his job.
He's doing his job. He's doing what was put in front of him.
My heart always sinks when I hear like actors getting like shit for their roles. Like I remember Jack Gleason, who played Joffrey in Game of Thrones. He got so much shit because he was just that good at being a fake asshole.
He was young too. Yeah. He didn't deserve that much hate so young.
Yeah, like, he quit acting because of it, I think. And
which poor soul.
It's like he really got to separate.
That was just a huge chunk of talent. If he's the kid from Game of Thrones, if I know correctly.
Yeah, and he did that slimy little rat so well. Yeah, but I'm sure he's a good kid.
He did like charity shit. I remember everyone being like, he's like. The character sucks. Like on set, he's like the nicest guy ever, which I love. But that always like breaks my heart because it's like it's not their fault.
Oh god!
It's not,
this kid is literally only like 7 years older than me too, and for him to quit an acting career because of hate online is really disheartening.
Yeah, it was the same thing with the actor who played Skylar in Breaking Bad.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Yeah, even though
I heard she got so much hate. I was like, why?
Even though her character was also just completely in the right all the time, except for when she kind of there's a point, but even then, like all the stuff that people were mad at her being like, oh, she's suspicious of Walt for very good reason. people
It's
still
like-
were like,
I'm sorry,
Oh,
you
she-
wouldn't be suspicious of your husband if he was endangering your family constantly and you were already in a hard spot? Like, fuck's sake.
yeah, like Jesus. But I wanted to say though, like,
That's a weird thing with people relating to, like, obviously
Yeah.
morally, like, gray characters, and they're just like, no, this guy's got great, and then we're gonna imitate his behavior, like everyone loving
Well,
Rick. And I'm
that's-
like, Jesus Christ.
I'd say with people like really relating to bad characters is honestly an effect that like a lot of more modern villains have had.
Yeah.
And my mind specifically, only because I've been watching a lot of Marvel, goes to Loki.
Loki.
And everyone in 2012, like there were so many fangirls for Loki, and you know what? I was one of them.
Yeah, same.
But I also didn't excuse, like, he still was
He's-
in Germany killing a whole lot of people.
yeah, he was
And,
still
like,
like such a
he's-
dick.
He's
Yes.
still a dick and a villain.
He
Was
starts
he hot?
an invasion
but
of
he-
Earth.
Yeah.
But for the people who are like, oh, he's just a sweet, pure, innocent
He's
baby,
not,
like,
though.
no, he's bad.
I
And
always-
it's
He's a
really
bad
weird that they
guy.
decided to force, like, a fucking redemption arc in his series of, like, the whole reason he's such a good character is because he is a morally great person to evil
Mhm.
person that
Yeah, like-
enjoys being a villain. Yes, he has his good moments, but he's still, at his heart, the god of mischief, and not in a good way.
Yeah. Like,
Let him
I-
live his fucking life.
Like, you
Let
can give...
him be the villain without having the need, like, it's the I can fix him mentality that so many people seem to have of, like, everybody's end goal is to make everyone else good.
And it's
Some people
and it,
are kind of shitty.
Yeah.
You can
It's
give
just what it is.
you can give a villain depth without trying to justify what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I remember
With that said, do I completely disagree with redemption arcs? No,
No,
I
no.
think characters should have every opportunity to redeem themselves.
There are some
But
that I
I feel-
feel,
but-
yeah, given the opportunity to redeem themselves or try, but do they actually get the redemption? That part, I'm like, some of them do.
Exactly.
it's
no.
why it's
One
why
of my
okay,
greatest of
sometimes
the-
they just move on.
Yeah,
and
some
of
like
my-
ignore all accountability.
Some of
and
my
it sucks.
greatest, one of my greatest examples of that is Endeavor from the My Hero series. I don't watch it anymore. I don't read it anymore. There was a manga spoiler that I read that actually just fucking turned me away from the series as a whole. I still see
Okay.
the manga spoilers every now and again, but I'm not gonna watch it anymore. But
Yeah.
Endeavor as a character is really good for someone who does not deserve redemption, but is still trying regardless, and sort of for himself to be a better person, but also for his family, whom he has scarred irreversibly, to the point
Yeah.
where he will cut himself out of his own family unit if that means they get to be happy.
and I want to talk about like a character. I do have another thing I want to say about the cancel culture
yes,
thing,
of
but
course.
just because we're talking about like redemption stuff right now, and I feel like that can be actually very relevant.
Yes. It always gonna loop back to shows and
Yeah.
movies, guys.
Yeah,
I mean, we are
also
writers.
have-
It's
We are
just
writers.
how we
I have a
work.
thing
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say
That's
because
how we
I've
talk.
realized
Yeah, but
I've barely talked.
Oh
It's-
shit, yeah, sorry.
Okay, yeah, but okay. You know what, Nick? No, Nick, you go first because I'm gonna.
Well,
probably
I
take
was
a
gonna
bit.
go on like a completely different thing, so you go first.
Okay.
Go ahead, Will.
Okay, well, so because one of the best like I love this series so much because of the character like growth with the main character is Vinland Saga, and the main character like I want to talk about this thing. So like spoilers for Vinland Saga for people who care. And I'm not gonna like. Well, I mean, I am. So if you, I don't think knowing this ruins it because it's still such a good read, and like I knew them, but like just in case, like if you want to click away, understandable. But the main character, like the whole story is that he's following this guy who killed his father for a chance to face him in a duel and kill him and avenge his dad. And it gets to the point where he's killed so many people, and like even when the guy he's trying to kill dies,
It does not
Askeladd-
satiate his bloodlust, I
yeah,
assume.
yeah, like Askeladd's like, what will you have now? And then there's like the next arc after, which I feel like I know some people who've also read it, and they're like, because it kind of went from this really dark revenge story to now where it is in the story, it's kind of like an adventure comedy, but it's such a, like an earned. It's not like in Loki where it's like, oh, now he's sympathetic. It's like it's such an earned change in his character because and there's also like so many lines because the first arc after Askeladd dies in that series, he's like a slave and he's like not even trying to like he's genuinely traumatized from what he's done, and he's like man, how many people did I put into my exact same shoes because I wanted revenge? And now how many people want revenge on me because of that? And there's a part later where he comes across a girl whose father he killed, and she's like, yeah, I want to kill you. And then but then this other girl there is like, wait, he's genuinely trying to change. Like, can you please forgive him? And she's like, well, no, I can't forgive him. But you know what I will do? I will travel with you, and the moment he slips up, I will be there to kill him. And it's just such a good, like, dynamic. It's such a fantastic redemption arc. Honestly, like, I cannot recommend it enough. And it's on Amazon Prime. Like, we're not sponsored by them, but, like, it's... God, everyone should watch it.
Imagine Jeff Bezos sponsoring us.
Here's the thing, I don't want Jeff Bezos to sponsor us.
I'll take the money. I'll sell out for Jeff Bezos.
Dude,
Pay me.
Well, I mean, like, he's going to space.
Aaron, there's a reason why my job at the Source didn't last. I couldn't lie about Bell. I can't lie about Jeff Bezos.
That's
I
valid.
can't lie in general. Like, that's my main fault. Like, I
That's
will
your
go...
character flaw.
That's not a fault.
You guys have barely
really
known
good.
me. I haven't even met any of you in person, and you know that when I say an opinion, you know is my truthful opinion, and it is a fact.
I know, that's one of the things I respect about you, Nick.
I feel like you and I, Nick, are like almost yin yang
I wanna
opposites because I lie almost compulsively, and I don't mean to.
I do
the thing where like
I actually
try
have
to
one quick example of my brutal honesty. College, before COVID, when I was actually in college, I was in like a entrepreneurial class. Both of those, I was in those classes. They were bullshit. I had to watch a TED Talk, and normally I'm like, yay, TED Talk. These are always interesting. It was terrible, and like the minute it was over, the teacher was doing the general teacher thing, like, so what everybody think? And I, zero hesitation, right off the bat, just yelled, that was the worst thing I have ever seen. And then the girl in front of me is like, Nick, you can't just say that. It's like, yes, I can.
Yeah, the fuck I can. What are you talking about?
I kind of respect your bluntness, even if it kind of comes across like in a dickish way.
I know exactly where it came from, too. It came from kids' shows. Because there's always that episode where it's like, if you start lying, then it's just gonna grow and grow and grow into a bigger lie. So I'm like, okay, I just don't lie.
It does.
Yeah, which I always love it whenever my parents are like, why would you lie about that? It's like, because they don't want to get in trouble.
You instilled this in me.
Yeah.
When
like,
bad things happen.
But
anyway, Nick, what were you gonna?
We've become a bit of a tangent.
That's my brutal, honest life. That was my life for the past 5 years or so.
But Nick, what do you want to say?
My thing about cancel culture is that, like, I can think of two examples, but one of them I'm gonna say because I know, like, this for a fact that this was the case. A couple times cancel culture can go after just the guy who's like the figurehead of a company instead of just going after the people internally in the company. Like, I'm sure Jeff Bezos is actually a dick. He seems stupid whenever
But I think here's the thing, there are also people within companies that can facilitate multiple things and that are not doing their part.
Like, for me, it's like, it's Walt Disney for me, because, like, I hear stories about him, and they keep saying he's anti-Semitic and he was racist and all this shit. He wasn't. It was, like, some other guy who was lower than him, but because, his name was the company, people thought was, well, you know who he really hated? He hated the communists with a burning passion. And the reason why is because...
You know what? That sounds more like classic American in the 1960s.
And that was because a bunch of politicians made him believe that they were gonna ruin him. He fell for the Red Scare. He was just a pawn of the politicians.
Fair enough.
That's what happened. And, like... And he was still this revolutionary man who, like, was... If he had if he had not died when he died, we might have been in space earlier than we might have been in space years ago. Like,
I don't know if I want to go to space.
Well, Bezos went to space.
You know what Epcot was initially going to be? That big, stupid golf ball thing? It was supposed to be like an actual city. He was going to build the city of the future.
I might have been okay with living in Disney City.
Disneyland.
Walt Disney was very much a man who like took an idea, latched on it, and just drove it to its breaking point.
I'd be fine with that as long as we get like a boiling aisles section. I'll live there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hang out with Ida.
Walt Disney is very much there's another sort of person who went through that scenario, but I don't know if I want to say it because this person's still around and doing shit, and it's like, I want to watch their stuff because they were very inspirational to me, but it's also like, I don't know if I should.
I mean, you can enjoy, like, it's the classic thing of like separating art from the artist.
Yeah,
just because
I don't know how much of that I believe in, because so much for the art I make is so much me, though. That's the thing.
That's also fair.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like just because J.K. Rowling is a fucking transphobic shitheel doesn't make Harry Potter any better.
Yeah,
it doesn't make Harry Potter any less significant to children's lives.
Yeah,
just because O.J.
not.
Simpson killed people doesn't make The Naked Gun any less funny.
Yeah.
And just because M. Night Shyamalan raped and tried to murder the Avatar: The Last Airbender franchise does not make Sixth Sense any worse.
I thought you were actually going on like M. Night Shyamalan's a terrible person. It's like, no, I hear he's a wonderful person.
No.
Makes shit movies.
He seems nice, but like, let's be honest, he did brutalize Avatar.
Similar to him, a good person, but shit movies.
Yeah, like, one like situation that I kind of want to bring up regarding that, where I think cancel culture like kind of exposed a lot of shitty people in the company, and it's a conversation I brought up around Nick kind of a couple times, is the whole Funimation voice actor thing that happened a while ago.
I completely forget what that was.
It was like Vic. It was like one guy.
Vic Mignogna.
Vic Mignogna.
Vic Mignogna. Yes, a bunch of scandals with it. Yeah,
Vic Mignogna.
Vic Bologna.
I want to say this. Like, I haven't followed a lot of the situation since like the first like couple months, so I don't know. I'm not taking sides. I don't know which one.
Long story short, it seemed that it was allegations of grooming.
I know
stuff with. Yeah.
I know
either.
I know that. I just don't know if there was anything like confirmed or like any like allegations.
I don't know if anything was confirmed, but he got dropped by everyone he worked with.
Immediately.
Yes.
Yep.
But I feel like
got rid of him. Funimation got rid of him.
Yeah. Which I want to say this.
If that's not true though, like if it was confirmed, okay, good riddance.
Yeah, like.
But the fact that all of us in this call right now don't know if it was confirmed or not.
Because like here's the thing, like whichever side was right, because like I wasn't on like the team Monica Rial, team Vic Mignogna. I wasn't on either. I was kind of remaining neutral, because again, I just like to. It's the classic thing of me being wrong. I just want to, I don't want to like.
I just want to listen to those voices. I just want to listen to them voices.
I feel like that whole situation. I think both sides handled that situation fucking terribly.
It would seem that way, yes.
And I feel like that whole thing kind of exposed just how shallow that particular company was and how quick they are to just drop someone based on what has so far been nothing. Because
honestly, a lot of companies have that issue.
Yeah,
like,
I
as
understand.
soon as something comes up.
I get that, but like with this, it was like Monica Rial specifically said that she had evidence that could put him away, like, for life. She said that specifically, or like something like
Monica
that.
Rial again?
She's another voice actor. She was like
You would know her from the voice.
She was what's the little Chinese girl in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
Mei Chang.
That's her.
Oh.
She's also like Uzaki and Uzaki-chan and some other stuff.
I swear, if it's the same voice as Ciel and Black Butler, I'm gonna.
It's
be
not.
So
that's
disappointed.
Brina Palencia.
Oh, thank God.
She
Ciel remains untouched.
She is the like the glasses maid girl though. Oh. That is her. But like I wanted like she said specifically that she had like, well, I don't know about like this is word for word, but she basically said that she had evidence that would put him away for life, and that she would release that information when she's ready. But it's like you're kind of just enabling it a bit, Like, which, first of all, whether or not she's telling, it's entirely possible that she was lying, because, like, I don't think she has released it, because every now and then I'll just see that Vic Mignogna is like, I don't follow him, but he's like, he streams on Twitch, and I'll get that in my recommendations.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I don't know what he does.
I don't know what
but it's like,
he does either.
and I also remember like a lot of because people are obviously like, well, if you have like evidence, why don't you show it to someone? And I remember there was some voice actor being like, where's the evidence? Where's your decency? And it's like, I get this sentiment, but at the same time, she's accusing someone of a very serious thing, claiming to have evidence that could stop him from doing it in the future, and is just kind of withholding that because if she did have it, it just made her uncomfortable, which is shitty.
That might be the case. So sometimes that might be the case.
No,
and obviously, no. I understand what you're saying. Obviously, like, there are some times where people will have this information, and depending on the person, and especially of how much power do they have in this industry, if there is an industry involved, or like, let's say in general, even if they put out this information, will it actually go through? Because there have been cases where there's been legitimate evidence and it's still dismissed. But on the other side of thing, cough Amber.
Yeah.
On the other hand, that information, if you can, or if you're that confident, it should go out.
Yes. And
Don't fucking make a bet and be arrogant about it.
Yeah.
And you know for a fact that if it's real, it could help other people. Don't then turn around and be like, no.
Yeah, because she also, like, and again, whether or not she was telling the truth, she handled that very poorly, because she was also just, like, threatening to sue a bunch of people on Twitter. Because, like, there was one, like, full disclosure, there were absolutely people being shitheels to her. I will not deny that. There were absolutely people just being sexist, horrible monsters. But there were also some people in that Twitter thread who were being very, like, some guy responded, I saw this on, like, the Funimation Twitter, because they addressed it, because they had to. On their Twitter, some guy responded being like, well, why didn't you just, like, put both of them on temporary unpaid leave until, you know, you find out which one of them is telling the truth, right? Which,
also a thing.
Yeah, perfectly reasonable statement, and she threatened to sue him.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, because, like, oh my...
It's like the backing yourself... A lot of people do that, where they back themselves in the corners because they feel the need to be on the offensive all the time. And you know what? In some cases, that's understandable. All right, got it. But in other cases, you don't need to be.
Yeah.
Just keep calm, because then you're gonna make yourself look bad.
Yeah. Funimation's response
and this
to
is
that
all an image game. You do realize that. As
Yeah.
people who are in the industry and don't realize that they're playing the image game, I feel like are kind of stupid. It's like, then how the fuck did you get into this in the first place?
Yeah, and also though, like, that was just a thing where, like, Vic Mignogna just got, like, completely fired, like, within that same week, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't know, I can't claim to know, but I just, like, you know, like, again, I thought the whole, like, put them both on unpaid leave until you figured it out, I thought that was incredibly reasonable, but also,
that makes
but
a lot of sense.
But also just Funimation's response to that whole situation was, like, the company, not just the people involved, their video response was the most cringe-inducing thing I've ever seen.
What was their video response? I never saw it.
I didn't see the whole thing, but, like, it started off with, like, these two voice actors there. I couldn't tell you who they were, being like, there's been, like, a lot of hatred in our community lately.
Oh,
like, a lot of bullying. But
it's the corporate. It's the corporate one. Yeah.
This was the line that killed me. Like, this is the last thing I want to say. This was the line that killed me. One of them was like, there's been a lot of bullying, but we're not bullies. We're nerds, and it's like, being a nerd does not negate bullying.
Have you seen the Marvel fucking fan base?
Yeah, dude, have you not? Dude, comic book fans are like some of the most toxic people online.
Comic book fans are fucking assholes. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
nerds are not, like, look, okay, we can fall into the stereotypes of, oh, nerds were bullied in high school. Yeah, they were. And guess what? Most of the media that we have today is run by nerds.
Yeah, like, seriously.
You don't have an excuse anymore. If you're being bullied for being a nerd in school, first of all, bullies, you're fucking idiots. You're fucking with people that will actually destroy you in the future.
Yeah.
But,
like,
second,
like, again, I just want to make this clear. I'm not taking sides again. Like, I'm not saying one side is more right or the other, but I'm just saying,
You want to know the sad thing about me? I'm brutally honest, but I'm also too fucking nice, because very much hearing all this, I'm just like, can't we just be friends? Can't we just go back to that time?
Can't we just all get along?
Can't we get along?
Aaron really are yin-yang.
That's very much my mood.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm here, like, I'd just rather
guy
hate everyone equally.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I don't want to
I love
hate.
that. That's one of
I
my
don't
favorite.
want to hate. That's just gonna spread evil. And
I don't want to
spreading evil. We're just gonna be nothing but we're gonna be worse than the apes that we came from.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
I
I don't
mean,
want to
come on.
be.
Even apes aren't
This
even
is
that
why,
bad,
like,
because most of the
this
time
is
it's
why
just
I'm such a-
instinctual.
This I gotta go off here because like I truly
the
believe in
power-
this.
The Care Bears thing.
Like,
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm serious. Like this is an
It's
actual
totally
thing.
fair.
I
Okay.
It's totally
believe
fair,
in.
I agree.
Like,
It's
I agree with it.
if we just
It's
keep
a good
spreading hate,
perspective.
like we're gonna be dead within a year. Like no wonder, like we can't just keep being evil to each other. Like someone's gotta take the higher ground and be like, and just apologize and like just sort of kiss and make up and shit like that. Cause like, I mean, like look at Undertale. Like that's a game about prejudice and like about.
And it was completely ruined by insane fans, like,
Well,
hating on each other.
Well, yeah, but like the moral of the story is like, here's a flower that was like devoid of hatred, devoid of emotion, devoid of love, and he was still forgiven. And like people were still like, look, we love you. You're our friend. We're here to help you. And he's like, oh jeez.
to the point where he didn't know what to do with that and just like
Ran.
fucked off. He ran. Like
Yeah,
even
he yeeted out of
then
there.
when he ran and tried the evil thing again just to prove his point, guess what? You fucked yourself over, buddy, because then you turned into a very emotional child and we
Yeah.
won.
Yeah.
You
I
It's
agree
very
with
much like
Shit out of
just
you, bud.
my final message to you, the listener, the viewer, the whoever: be kind. Don't spread hate. Spread kindness. If you're gonna do anything with your life, spread kindness.
Be kind
And-
and also be critical.
Be
Yeah.
kind. Rewind.
And my
Thank
message is
Hell
is
yeah.
this: if you are anything like me, wait until more evidence comes out about things, because
Oh, definitely.
like
You're
it's
allowed
very,
to voice your own opinion.
yeah, like
But
I get,
you cannot say that your opinion is solid.
yeah, like
And the problem with a lot of people that are recorded is like when people are gonna watch this, and let's say we do change for better or for worse in the future, they're gonna look back on this and it's like, but you said this thing. It's like, well, that's what happens when you record people
It's
Yeah.
almost
during
like
periods in their
people
life.
grow.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it's
almost
almost
like
like
what
we
you're seeing
can't
is an
see into the
isolated
future.
case.
like like people, despite what the internet tells you, it's okay to be wrong sometimes.
It's
It's
okay to be
okay.
wrong a lot of times.
Yeah, just correct yourself
Most people
and
are.
move on.
Grow
all you have
as
to
a
do.
person.
Absolutely.
Learn to love, but
Yes.
you need hate. But you need love more.
Yeah.
I
Just-
genuinely hope that someone in 20 years does call back on this podcast that we, as stupid 20-something-year-olds, made and try to argue that we have not changed. Because I guarantee we will have
Yeah.
in 20
If
or
I
so
turn into a
years.
bad
Be
person,
completely
someone
different.
just throw this recording at me and tell me I'm being a fucking asshole and
Yeah.
hope that I'll listen.
I will
Yes.
fucking Clockwork Orange you with this.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
I've never watched Clockwork Orange, so I don't know what that means.
And on that note, goodbye everybody.
Alright, bye
Goodbye,
bye.
everybody.
This has been the end of 20-something. Be sure to check out our socials. Be sure to check us out on Spotify, on YouTube, on Buzzsprout if you guys aren't already on there. And we thank you for tuning in, and we'll be seeing you next time on... It will be our last episode next time, right?
Of the season.
Of
Of
the
the season.
season.
Of the season.
Next will be our season finale. Not the end all be all,
No.
but the season.
Otherwise,
Don't-
this will be a
don't
very
worry,
short
people.
project that I feel bad about, so...
Don't worry, fans, and fuck you haters. We'll be back.
Okay,
Spread love.
bye.
Always
GGs.
spread love, never spread hate. But
Later,
also
gamers.
spread butter.
Uh-huh.
Spread butter on your toast.
Yeah.
You spread that butter.